Yo, what up? Is this thing on? Can you guys hear me? All right, cool. So, today we're going to be getting into some busy work, doing some refactoring, moving some of this code around. I spent the last couple streams working on a little bit of basic framework code for loading images onto the device and getting some inputs, like handling our inputs, running keybinds and stuff. So at this point, what I want to do is migrate some of these functions over into a worker Python file, because prior to that, I was just using like the fuzz USB generic kind of testing script to fire off these code paths. But I want to move this to a little bit more official kind of code. So I'm going to make a worker Python file. This is what's going to be running in the background, and it's going to have like the while loop that handles all of like updates and keeping track of stuff. And then the this mount display pad Python file is going to be specifically for actually talking to the device. So this is going to be kind of our low level hardware access file. This is what will talk to the device, and then this is what all of the user space utilities will communicate with, is through this worker. So this is where we're going to set up our API functionality and everything. So if we make like a interface in the future, or if we want to hook this into OpenRGB, we'll talk to this worker, as opposed to just calling functions out of this. So let's get started with that. Real quick, let me get a couple things open on my other screen. All right. All right, cool. So and this is going to be a lot of like just fudging stuff around and reconnecting code paths and stuff. So before I had, let's see, let's open this up. Get both of these open. So this is where I was doing that work before. Down here under get device, interrupts, control. Okay, so this is our poll input. So I think we're still gonna leave this poll input function here under our actual driver, air quotes driver. This is all being done in user space, so we're not doing like kernel drivers or anything like that, which is fine. So with the display pad worker, what I want this thing to do is, and I don't really have all of this planned out yet, just kind of in the back of my head. But I think what I want it to do is to run our loop, to run our while loop, to poll the input and react to the input. So let's just do a couple comments in here. So let's see, react to input. Let's see, dispatch to panels. So what I want is for like the configuration, or like the, I guess, usability of this thing, I want to kind of have some panels, air quotes panels, which would essentially just be a pre-configured screen along with buttons and functions for the display pad, so that, say for instance, I want to have a very generic panel that just has buttons and icons. We'll call that like a keypad panel or something. And then I want another panel that is like an info panel, like one where it doesn't really like provide a lot of like button functionality, or like not every single button is mapped directly to a key press or a keybind, but instead where you can have, say, the bottom left button, when you push it, it goes and it changes the content on the display to something else, or it updates it, or uh, basically what I want is I want to take our keypad that only has 12 buttons and make it into something where we can flip between different panels that provide different functionalities. So instead of just having 12 buttons with images behind them, we can have 12 buttons that do unique things depending on which panel you're in or which panel is currently active. So dispatch the panels, and then our panels, I think we want to have like like an on update, or kind of like an update step. So update panel, I guess that'd be the same as like dispatched panel. So update panel, react input. And then we also want to manage state. So change state. And then the states are essentially going to be our panels. So kind of what I've got going on is on the actual, on disk, I've got a folder called panels, and I want to put some Python in here. It essentially contains this stuff. So I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take that out, move it to a new file. Um, and let's call this one keypad. Oops. And I don't know if this is the best way to do this. I'll find out. And if it sucks, obviously you change it and you start doing it differently. So we'll see. We will see how this works out. So we'll stick that over there, and then what I imagine is that I can, from over here, we can specify panels. Just do this one, keypad. Keypad. Let's see. All right. So imagine, let's see, what we want to do is go through and instantiate a panel, instantiate one of these objects. Because the panel, I want it to contain like the functionality for the buttons, like what they actually do, so what the key maps or what the key codes represent. So say you press, I don't know, button 11, what does that mean to this panel, and what is that going to do versus a different panel? If you push button 11, what does that do? So I think each panel needs to probably have like a handle input, kind of like that. And then they probably also need to, so this is where we'd be like passing a key code. And then we probably want like a like an update. And I think I don't know if we want to, because the problem with this is I think we want, if we make so we have our image library, which handles the virtual canvas. So we can make each panel handle its own virtual canvas. And then we can give all the functionality for drawing onto that virtual canvas to this bit of Python. So then our panel itself can talk to the image library to manage the virtual canvas. So we need to import. I already kind of did some of this. Image lib. So that way, say for instance, you push button 11 and you want to, I don't know, redraw the screen. So you would get handle input, button 11 would be pressed, and then you would call whatever other functions in here that you want to do. But I think these are kind of like the basic two that I wanna do for the worker, or that's actually handled by the worker. So we would do over here panel. What do we do? Let's see, panels dot get active, and then we do handle input. So if let's see, key code equals it's active panel. Set this to default, or keypad. Okay. So we handle our input, and then I'm gonna do update, I guess. And then I think this is just going to be a dictionary. We'll initialize this with all of our panels. I don't remember how to do that. I did it a while ago with some other software, with some other Python that I did. Let's see. Trying to find it. Um, oh, I wrote this code so long ago. Okay. Yeah, I can't find it. Whatever. Just have to YOLO it. So let's see. So when we first start our work, or what we want to do is probably initialize all of our panels, which would involve going through and creating an instance of each panel. Probably have the generic panel, like generic panel class, and then extend that from, or extend from that. Let's see. I'm not a big fan of Python object-oriented programming. I usually stick with functions, just functional programming. Python inheritance. Okay. Yeah, I don't inheritance is so annoying. I don't like dealing with it. I think maybe let's just try to get it working with one, and then we'll expand it out to multiples. So panels, let's see. Let's just try this in Python terminal. Let's see. Actually, is this? No. Let's see, is it just asterisk? There it is. See if it imported that. I don't think so. I can never remember how this shit works. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's a while back where I made some Python code that went and recursively looked or imported a bunch of other Python files, and then I referenced those based off of the import table. But I cannot remember how I did that. Relative imports, use leading dots. Let's see. Combines two operations, searches for the name module, then binds the results to that to a name in the local scope. Because I think, yeah, I didn't do it here. Let's see, print panels, namespace from there. Now, what the hell? Sysmodule keys. Oh, that's right, globals. Forgot about globals. Can print globals. Yeah, because what I want to do a is have all my panels in this folder. Have all my panels in this folder, and then have the display pad worker initialize all of these, and then go through, iterate over each of those, and call their handle input and update methods. Or iterate over the active one. Um, I guess it's just a matter of how I want to hook that up. Because I could statically define it, where you just have a list of like active panels or panels that you're using, and then it goes through and it just initializes those. But that's not, I don't know, that's not complicated enough, apparently. I need to make it more complicated. So let's get the, here we get a list of the imports that are in there. Metapath. Maybe I need to do that. That's why it's not coming up in the no, wait. Oh, good God. That's all the modules. I think I can do directory on main. No? Oh. That's because there is no main. I'm running it in the interpreter. Also, if you guys don't know already, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. So have fun. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna help us. So we initialize our device. Let's just go ahead and initialize that one panel. From panels import keypad. Or can we just import panels? Let's see, import panels. I think I already tried that. No. Panels dot keypad? No. Oh. See, I wonder if it's because I'm not actually, these are not actually, they don't have init functions. I don't know. So we would just do it the lazy way, manually specify it, say our active panel is keypad, initialize our keypad panel right here, and then panels get active panel, should be keypad, and then handle input, so that'll call handle input on that panel. So handle input, what do we want to do for this? So let's just go ahead and emulate. Let's get it back to where we had it a couple streams ago, where I could push buttons and get it to do stuff. So let's get the action, or we've got our handle input right here. Let's go ahead and take that, swap these out. And take that off because we want this to be a public method. So mapping equals, so we have our self key mappings. And then I guess we can manually define these because we're going to, I don't know if we want to stick them in each one. I still feel like I want to keep them as JSON files. Because then you could have like a, I don't know, some weird JSON file for whatever panel that you want. If it does weird stuff, you could keep more information or different information. You're gonna have to, basically, you're gonna have to have the same schema for each JSON file if you stuck with that. So then I guess this way, we don't really need, let's duplicate this. Actually, I want to open a new one, save this as displaypad panels. Let's see. Alright, so this is keypad.json, and I want to change this back to keybind, and we'll just have it be F1 for now. And then I don't know if I want to have the, actually leave the icon on there. Okay. We'll leave that one as execute, because this is going to be our basic default panel for pushing buttons and activating commands. So load our panel config. It's going to open panels name.json as fs, and it goes and it sets the key mappings. So we need to come in here and we need to make a new dictionary, or a new value called key mappings. And that's going to be a dictionary. That's going to be all of this dictionary. Alright, so key mappings, and then what was our other one? Static image path. And the static image path I had in mind to be a like a path to like a default image. So if you had a panel that you put together and you want a default image to be the background, because you're not actually updating it based off of like icons or anything, that's what the static image path would be for. Let's see. And I also wanted to, so that'll go and it'll get the data out of that. And then what was our other one? Action keybind. Let's migrate this. Oops. All right, so that's our action keybind. Yo, what's up, Colors93? How are you doing? So that's our action keybind. So this is effectively going to be the same. Let's just copy all of these. Except for maybe the widget. I don't think I want the widget. That's not even fully thought through yet. So then we'll do our action execute. Uncomment. Get that nested properly. Okay. So then what we can do is get the mapping, get action, mapping, get value, self action, dot get. All right. Keybind, is it keycode? Keybind? What do I call it? Keybind? Keybind and execute. All right, so we're just going to store a reference to that function. Execute self dot action execute. That way we can reference that actions. Get a, okay, cool. So what I'm thinking is that if we want to save some effort later, we can just instantiate another panel. Maybe we just need to make this a generic panel. I'll think about that later, but if we turn this into like a generic panel and we instantiate it, we can have all the same like action keybind, action execute. And then just overload those functions, set them to something different, and get different functionality out of it. But the base core of loading the key mappings from the JSON to handle the inputs or to understand what key code does what. And then our static image, I think all of that stuff is, and then managing our virtual canvas, I think is all going to be roughly the same stuff. Okay. So action keybind, action execute, handle our input. I don't think we're ready to run this yet. It's probably going to break some shit. See, like I don't have this stuff in here yet. This honestly needs to, we need to go in under the display pad worker. We need to have some functions for sending key codes. So let's do that really quick. Self keyboard right, or maybe not. Maybe we need to instantiate like the keyboard to do key presses under each panel. That might be a good idea. Well then, let's just stick with that. We'll do self.keyboard equals, what was it? U input and evdev. Okay. Okay. So I don't have it under here. All right, so I've got to make that again. So keyboard is, what is it, U input? There. And then echoes, E key. Okay, cool. So that should still work. Handle input, which gets called by this. So we'll go pull the device, get the key code, send that over to our panel, which is our keypad. Our keypad knows what to do because it loads the panel config. And that comes over here. Sample icon. Okay, so that I don't think that's going to be putting anything on our screen yet, except for that set panel image. We'll comment that out. We don't want to do that yet. Let me attach this device to the VM and run it just to do some sanity checks. All right. Add the USB device. Okay. All right, and let's see. All right, so we've got our display pad attached. All right. Oop, it's already in that tab. No, nice. Now we just walk through these errors real quick. Module object is not callable. Keypad, where are you? Display pad ID is not defined. Did you mean display pad? Oh. Where are we at? Okay. So get that. Throw that up there. That's our device ID. Okay. Let's run that again. Access denied, insufficient. Oh, that's right. Shit. I gotta make a udev rule again. I went and reinstalled this Kali setup so that I could get the cursor shown, because for whatever reason the cursor wasn't showing through VNC, which is very annoying. And now I've got to get a udev rule. So let's see, sudo nano etc udev rules, and then we need display pad dot rules. Or is it rule? I can't remember. Let's check. So we've got Linux udev rules. Do 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 do. let's get... we need this one. Copy. So let's see, vendor ID is... I already forgot it. Oh man. Alright. And then we got 0009. Alright. Tags U access. USB. Alright, I think that'll work. Now let's just save this because we're gonna have to restart. Alright, let's restart it real quick. Hey, what's up, Super Tim? Or hey, Super Tim? Do you have a Supra? Yeah, me too. I got a BRZ though. That's pretty fun. That's a fun little car. Okay, so let's USB, and then let's CD back into our directory and source our virtual environment, and then we will Python. Oop. Oh, we're not in the right folder. Dodoy. Okay, cool. So now it's not whining that we don't have access to the device. Okay. That's cool. Good. So it is not getting E-codes though. Did I not import that? Thought I did. Oh, that's under here. E-codes. Where is that whining? Meta key shift E-codes rate shift is not defined. It's under mount and display pad. Oh, okay. Line 52. Display pad is it's like a little knockoff stream deck. I can show you real quick. I've got it off camera. It's like this little thingy. Yeah, it's a knockoff stream deck. It's got 12 buttons and a little screen behind the buttons. So a couple months back, I spent a good while reverse engineering the driver in Windows. They've got a like a DLL file that man, this thing is annoying to plug in. Hold on one second. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't have Linux support, and so I spent like a good while reverse engineering the Windows driver. So now I'm taking that information, yeah, and putting it into some Python code to get Linux support. Yep. Yeah, that's the this is the driver bit. Everything that I've got under this mountain display pad Python file is kind of like the low level talk to the device over USB. So I've got all these message headers that have kind of magic values that I pulled out of the DLL file. Yeah, exactly, right. Um, I mean, they didn't want to add Linux support. I contacted them and I was like, hey, do you guys plan on adding Linux support for this device? And they're just like, no, you can use Windows. Um, and I was like, well, that's not good enough for me. So I'm going to take this $35 device and spend 60 plus hours making it work in Linux. Um, So yeah, I went through and dug out all of the message headers, and then these are all of the key map or all the messages for like the key presses whenever you push a key on the device. Um, and I've got those wrapped under some under a device class. There's a whole bunch of like shitty like commented out code in here too. But I've got all of it wrapped under this display pad class that handles like the setup of the device connecting to USB through the Python USB library, and then does the interrupt messages, so it packs all that data for those headers, and then everything else that we're changing, packs all that into the message and sends it to the device. So then I'm working on the actual user space control stuff. So that's where I'm at right now is getting all of the user space things in place so that I can make a GUI to sit on top of that. Yeah, nice. That's cool. Yeah, it's fun to take something that kind of works or somewhat works and then add a little bit of extra features on top of it. Um, like there's a I think Pimaroni is a company that does like DIY hardware like learning kits and stuff, and they have like this thing called the Kibo Mini. It's like a little macro pad. It's got like three buttons on it. It's honestly pretty useless in terms of a macro pad, but they're mechanical keys. And so I wrote some code to add some layers to that, so you can swap between different modes on it. Because it's only got three buttons. Like there's not a whole lot of functionality you can get out of something with three buttons unless you make it a little bit more complex. But yeah, it's fun to take stuff and kind of like add extra functionality to it. So let's see. We need to take our ecodes and take them out of here because we're defining our meta keys. We can actually take this and move this back out to our displaypad worker. Um, yeah, because I don't think these are actually being used at all. Oops. Let's see, how's this, where's this getting referenced at? Yeah, it's not. So, meta keys. So we come over here, and I think we can do that over here. Meta keys. Because that's what we're looking for, because we just want to reference them with a generic string. We don't want to have to go through and say, oh yeah, key right meta and key left meta. I just want to say meta. Okay. So I think that'll live there. Let's rerun this, see what it whines about again. Line 16 under displaypad worker, ecodes. Oh, I need to get that import statement over here. From evdev import ecodes. Device CTX. Oh yeah, because it's not plugged in. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and I gotta reconnect the device to the VM. Yeah, so the Python evdev library has some functionality. It's got like a lookup table. The ecodes it's a lookup table for event codes. So like whenever you push a keyboard button, it'll map to that. So then I can like instead of so you can see like there's two different key codes for shift. You have one for right shift and one for left shift, and those are mapped into this table right here under ecodes. So when you push right shift, it actually goes and it refers to this in that library, and I'm just mapping them to a singular dictionary item. Yeah, because I'm lazy. And what's the point in programming if you're not going to be lazy? All right, so I've added the device. Make sure that's there. Now this USB. Cool. And then let's run it again, see what it whines about this time. Oh, access denied. So I guess my... How did I do that UDIV last time? Oh, do I need to set the permissions? The groups? Oh, I think I need to be in the plug dev group. Let's see, groups. I am in plug dev. Okay. Okay. I think I need to set the group or the owner of it. Yeah. I did this. I just reinstalled this this Kali box and I set up the UDEV rules for it a couple days ago, and of course I already forgot. Let me get it from my other machine. Let's see. Oh yeah, I have to specify the group. I don't think I did that. Oh, it also needs to be named rules. And I need an O in sudo. Let's see. Then I need group. There, that should do it. Yes, and then sudo move udev rules to, let's see. Dot rules. There we go. All right, I think that should do it. Yeah, I'm gonna log out. Actually, I'm gonna just reboot it. I'll reboot it. It's a virtual machine. Takes 2 seconds. Okie dokie. Now let's see. Okay, so we've got our device. Let's go back into our folder. And source. Okay, cool. So now it's not whining about that. Okay, cool. Now we have access. Alright, it's whining about something else now. Display pad object has no attribute. Canvas 69 under init. Oh, yeah, okay. That is under here. We are telling it to... Oh, no. What is that whining about? Display pad object has no attribute canvas. Oh, I am trying to add the, icon on there. Line 69. Oh, okay. Yeah. That's where I was manually testing the, that image. Okay. Alright. And then I think panels keypad has no attribute handle input. 65 under main. What do you mean it has no handle input? It's right there. What are you talking about? I also need to pass it a value. Panels.keypad has no attribute handle input. Keypad. Oh, I need to. Oh, I'm so stupid. Okay. I need to instantiate the panel. There we go. And then it has a handle input. Dadoy. Yeah, okay, so now it's missing the name. Wait. Panel input is missing. Card argument name. Guess we don't really need that. Actually, we do, because I want to. This isn't just going to be a generic, or this is going to be the generic panel class later. So we'll just make it work with that for now. Handle input, display pad, and then this is going to be keypad. This will get changed later, so I'm not too worried about it being stupid. Dev U input cannot be opened for writing. Okay, so this was another one that another problem that I had. Without having to do sudo. So the evdev library. Oh, is this even worse? Because so the previous setup I was using Wayland, or it was using X11, and now this one's using Wayland. So I wonder if I'm gonna have issues with Wayland not allowing me access to the keyboard. The previous install it worked fine. Yeah, that's going to be annoying. You input base back in for Linux. Let's just start looking. Yeah, but see, this was the issue where you need to use sudo, right? Oh, that's right. The other solution that I had was I gave I think I gave user access to uinput or something. Right? The user should have access to uinput. That's the whole fucking point in uinput. That's the same thing. Reading the same damn thing. All right, let's just check the docs. Look at the docs. Python evdev. Because I don't want to read events from the device. I just want to send them. Let's see. Yep, owned by root. Yeah, this is it was under the tutorial where I saw it. Writing events. Or is injecting or something. Yeah, there is injecting input. So UI uinput. That's what I'm doing. So keyboard right ecodes EV key. Keyboard is U input. Shoot, what the hell did I do for this last time? Da, da, do, 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 do. Oh, see, this person was able to get it with the udev rule. I guess I need more udev rules. When in doubt, more udev rules, right? Oops. Sud. Sud. It's RW for root. You'd think user input would be writable for the user, but no. Root probably can. Oh no, root group can't. Root user can. Let me just steal this dude's input. I think that's all I need, right? Yeah, I think that's all I need. Okay. And then let's see, sudo udev adm reload. No, is that not it? What is it? So I know you can reload them. Whatever, reboot. Okay. It's the only surefire way. Okay. All right, now let's check the permissions. All right, lsla dev uinput. Oop, uinput. Ah, there we go. It's still owned by root, but now everybody can access it. Let's see. CD desktop. We'll source our stuff again. And run our worker. Name config is not defined. Okay. We'll just chew through these errors. Chewing through errors. Why is that not working? Why is my mouse not working now? My keyboard's working, but now my mouse isn't. Did I just break it? That udev rule break my mouse? What the hell? Oh, device mount display pad keyboard. Look at that. Mount display pad mouse. It thinks it's a mouse and keyboard. How cute. Oh my god. Doing this all with tab. I wonder if this disables it on the USB or if it just disables the input. Does my mouse work now? No. That is so weird. I don't know why giving user permissions to uinput would fuck it up so bad. That's so strange. Alright. No, I want U input. Alright. Jeez, that's so stupid. Alright, restart. Yes. Man, I love computers. Computers are so cool. Okay. Do you think my mouse works again, or was that just a fluke? Wow, looks like my mouse works again. Okay, that's freaking weird. Let's see. Linux user access U input. Oh, that's right. I used Steam has a U input rule. I just stole theirs. I think that's what I did last time. Because they've got, yeah, there it is. Subsystem miscellaneous static U input U access. Yeah, I think I stole this same exact udev rule last time I was messing with this. Let's try this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what I did. Let's try this. Restart. Hey, my mouse still works. That's cool. It's a good sign. Dev U input. Okay. So owner and group. Wonder if that's enough though. Cause we're in the plug dev group. So that should be enough. Okay, so now it's saying name config is not defined. Okay. That's under keypad. Config is not defined. Line 15, if config. Oh. I think we just want to do that anyway. So I do that by default. Load panel config, which goes in, opens the JSON file, goes and gets all that. Okay, cool. Let's try this again. Lock is not defined. I'm just gonna break all this shit. Where's my log line? There you are. All right. 14th time is the charm, right? No. Such file directory, panels. Oh, name. It's not a format string. Need to be a format string. All right. 15th time is tries the charm JSON. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yes, you're right. I did forget to import JSON. Yeah. Jesus. This is what happens when you write a bunch of code and you don't actually run it until you're done writing it. Line 27 now. Self key mapping. Oh, see the whole thing. I referenced it wrong. All right. There we go. Do it. Okay, so now, nope. Okay. So panel handle input is still missing that one under 65. There we go. This needs to be key code. And that should do it. Now we should start seeing when I push these buttons. Nope, none type object has no attribute get. Okay, so I guess it's still, key code is still something. Yeah, it's still I shouldn't have to do that. I feel like just asking if it exists should be right. No. Yeah, see, none is not a type. None is just nothing. It's null. We'll just, because I don't actually want to do that if it's, if key code is not none. Or is that a string? Is it a string of none? No. Let's go back to our poll input function. Turn key code. Key map index pressed. Oh, I think it is a string. Hey, what's up, Nacho? So I've got this big ass Python file that I wrote a while back, which is the result of doing a bunch of ghidra analysis on the Windows DLL, the binaries in Windows that operate this device. So I tore that apart, dug out a bunch of static message headers and stuff like that, and I've implemented that into my own Python code in Linux to be kind of like the drivers for it, so to say. So now I'm working on the kind of the higher level interfaces that the user interacts with. All right, let's see if none not in key code. Let's see if that works for us, because I think none is a string in this case. No. Oh no, it is none type. Argument of none type is not iterable. I don't know why it's passing that if checked in, that if statement. Da, 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 da. So we're pulling our input, if is instance bytes, so it should be, it shouldn't even be returning anything. Let's see. Else, let's just return none. Oops. I guess it depends on what kind of experience. I mean, I've been messing around with computers since I was, I don't know, 12 or something like that. Professional experience, I've got probably about 5 or 6 years of cybersecurity experience in an enterprise environment, and then probably like 10 plus years of IT. So most of my programming experience is in Python. So that's why I'm doing this in Python instead of like C or something. Let's see. So let's send actual none if we don't get anything. Well, let's try that, see what that does. None type object has no attribute get. Key 8 pressed. Oh, see, we're actually in the keypad now. Okay, cool. I'm in. Maybe I was misreading that. So 61 under handle input. Get key code string. Oh yeah, none type object. So key mappings is none. Key mappings should be that. If you want to do something like this, I would say just grab a piece of hardware and start hacking it. You can I would say starting with like something that you're familiar with. If you're familiar with Linux stuff, you can start with something like that. If you're familiar with Windows stuff, you can start on that. Really just kind of just dive into it. Ask yourself a question about the device or about whatever it is that you're trying to understand. You know, like how does this thing connect to the internet? You know, it's like a pretty basic question, but the answer to that is surprisingly complex. You know, just any type of IoT thing, how does that connect to the internet? Well, you know, that could be through, you know, could be through wireless, it could be through a wire, or it could be using RF. So I think we need to load our panel config before we get the input. So our panel config is right here. Load panel config. Do we even need to, let's comment these out. I don't think I need them. Let's see what it does. I tend to debug by throwing caution to the wind. 61 under handle input. Mapping self key mappings has no attribute get. Oh, is that because it's not a JSON get key mappings? Let's see what this looks like. So it's not actually my key mappings under my JSON. Is it even loading the JSON? Panel same JSON. Self CFG JSON. Yeah, I'm getting that feeling too. I don't think it's being loaded properly. This is all a bunch of code that I did the same thing where I wrote it all and then I never actually tested it until the next day. Never do that. Never write a bunch of code and then don't actually run it and then test it out the next day because you'll forget everything about it. You won't remember what it was for or why you wrote it. And then you'll be doing what I'm doing, scratching your head trying to figure out inside the panels folder. Let me double check. It's right there, keypad.json. That's this one. Oh, you know what it is? So I have my old schema over here. I didn't update this one for the new schema, so that key mappings was not actually in the JSON. So it's actually getting to the JSON. It just wasn't loading that value because it didn't exist. Let's see. And then this is the part where I don't do error handling, so it's kind of like a shooting yourself in the foot scenario. Or if you don't do error handling in like case testing, then you know you'll not know why it's returning a none value. Okay, so now it's actually returning stuff. Meta keys is not defined. Okay, so now we're getting that. So key 9 is pressed. Running keybind F1. So, and then that's under action keybind. Where's that? I'm getting lost. Action keybind. Ecodes. Oh, that's right. I need the meta keys to be in here, not over here, because it's kind of an extra lookup table for us. So we'll do that. And actually, I want to, just because globals. Just makes it easier to know that that's a global when it's all caps. All right, there we go. So now we're getting that. Okay, cool. And then let's actually get rid of our stupid print statement that's causing a bunch of noise in the log. Where is that? Print key code. I don't want that. Yeah, it's a working. Sort of. It ain't much and it don't work. Okay, cool. So, and this one's Windows D or Meta D, so you can see that's actually like sending the key press or the keystroke, which is good. So that's sending Meta D. Okay, cool. So I've got that rewired. That was one of the main things that I wanted to do in today's stream, is to take all of that stuff, because I wrote all of that code under here, under the actual driver. And I don't want that to live there. I want it to live under kind of like a higher level user space. This stuff is just to talk to the or talk to the device over USB. I don't want to kind of mess this up, because once this gets out of whack and you're wondering why your messages aren't being sent to the device, right? That's a big pain in the ass to troubleshoot. So I want to keep this to be very simple as an interface for the device over USB. And then I have the display pad worker, which is actually going to be running in the background. This will be like the service worker that runs in the background. It connects to the device over USB, and then it goes and it runs through a loop while it's running, and then it handles our device input, and then it goes and runs the handle input method on our panel. And so for our default panel, the panel that we're making just for testing, is going to be a keypad, where it's very simple. Press the button does things. So in our case, our button can either do a keybind or it can do an action execute. Which one did I set up for that? Was action button 3? Yeah, button 3 should open up Firefox. Or not. Whatever. We'll look at it later. So then this panel does action keybind and does this with the keybind, does that with the execute. Here's our handle input. So if we want to make a new panel, we can just instantiate this generic panel class and then override our handle input function to do whatever we want it to do, and then also override our update. So I think we need to come in here and we need to also do, let's see, panels.get, lazy, panels.get active, and then update. So we'll call our update function too, or as well, there. Okay, so that about covers that. Any books or courses for this stuff like this that you can recommend? So most of my formal education for this comes from SANS, but that's for like the cybersecurity, pen testing, kind of infosec side of things. They have a bunch of really good courses, but they're very expensive. So if you have like an employer that will pay for certs for you, I would highly recommend checking them out. But they have like a whole course that'll teach you a bunch of stuff about a particular thing in cybersecurity, like endpoint monitoring or forensics or something like that, and then they'll have a certification course to go along with it. Outside of that, hack the box kind of stuff is very fun. That's also a very good way to kind of get your hands active on this stuff. I think there's like Try Hack Me and then Hack the Box are two of the big ones. Those are kind of like hacking challenges or scenarios where some folks have set up a virtual machine or a machine that has some software installed on it, and the goal is to like kind of hack into it and get access to some stuff. Yeah, and you really just got to get excited about tinkering with stuff. Trying to figure out how that stuff works, asking yourself questions, and trying to find answers for it. Um, and then, cause like so for instance, for this thing, this display pad, when I first got it, I got it because it was $35. It was a really good deal. And I was like, well, if even if I don't do any streaming or anything like that, and I don't need it for streaming, having a little macro pad with a screen on it is pretty good, and $35 that's cheap for that kind of hardware. Um, so I bought it, and then I plugged it into Linux, and it didn't work. And so when I had that, it kind of became a challenge to get it working in Linux. And so you start asking yourself, well, how do I listen to this device, or how do I figure out what I need to talk to it, or how do I talk to it in order to get this thing to work? So my first question is, well, let's try to listen to the device. Let's try to listen to the device on like a lower level and see what it's doing, and maybe we can emulate that with our own software and get it to work. So I started off with Wireshark, hooking up Wireshark in Windows with the device plugged up and emulating or running through some commands with the native software, and then just looking at that traffic in Wireshark. And then from there, you can start to pick it apart a little bit more and be like, okay, so I got this message in Wireshark with this header on it. What does this header mean? When I tell it to update the image, and it goes and it sends like 40 different messages in Wireshark, what are those messages? What do those actually mean? So from there, you start digging into the software, trying to figure out what those messages actually mean, and you just kind of keep pulling on threads. So you kind of have to really start with something small and start digging and pulling those threads until you figure out a lot more than what you initially started with. And yeah, get yourself a disposable ThinkPad. Yeah, if you have a spare computer, that's a great way to get started with any of this stuff, is to just use it as your development lab. Don't worry about breaking the software or anything like that, because if it's a spare computer, you can always reinstall the software. As long as you keep the hardware intact, you can mess up the software all day long and then just go back and reinstall it and fix it and everything. So that's a very good piece of advice. Get a Linux laptop, or get a testing computer that you can just, I don't know, fart around with and break and do all sorts of stupid stuff with. If you when you really get into it, you start getting into like lab environments and everything, where you've got virtual machines and hypervisors set up, and you're emulating whatever operating system that you want, and then running stuff under that virtual machine. Yeah, and work with some scripting. Learn some Bash, some PowerShell, some Python. Learn that kind of stuff. That stuff will open up a lot of doors for implementing your own tools and utilities, and kind of poking at things like how software is talking to your hardware and vice versa. What time is it? We've been going for an hour and 40 minutes. I think I'm going to take a quick break, about 5 to 10 minutes. I'll go ahead and put on some cool music for you guys. If you guys want to hang out, feel free. If not, have a good rest of your day. But I will be back in about 5 to 10 minutes, and we'll keep digging into this and hopefully get some more progress. Yo, what up? Okay, I'm back. What'd I miss? Oh yeah. Linux is definitely overwhelming. There's a lot of information out there. Just computing in general can be pretty overwhelming. Yeah, and having a goal definitely helps. That's one of the hardest things I had trouble with when it came to like learning programming and stuff is like having a goal. Um, because like starting with like a simple hello world program to me never really felt good. I mean, obviously, you can learning how to print something to the console is definitely step one, because You'll be doing a lot of printing to the console as you program, um, but it doesn't feel uh, like an accomplishment, so to say. So having like a really small, simple project in mind is a good way to get started with programming and kind of just doing this stuff in general. Uh, if you want to get started with like hardware hacking, I would recommend just going out to the store and just buying a piece of hardware. Buy an inexpensive piece of hardware, take it apart, kind of inspect it, analyze it, and try to learn as much about it as possible. Um, Now, don't expect to like pop any root shells or anything like that. I mean, you might. Sometimes it's pretty easy, but just uh, just go at it and start taking it apart and trying to understand it and figure it out is a great way to get into hardware hacking. Just grab a piece of hardware and go at it. So, let's see. What are we doing? Let's see. I've got. So I think we can check off the separate user space features. Because I have those all separated into this display pad worker right now. So I'm going to go ahead and knock that off of this. So now we have to modularize our panels, make our config, init functions, and our update functions. So that's going to be under here. I'm not too sure how I want to do that yet. I could probably go through and set this thing up as the default keypad panel, and that'll probably be good for testing. Let's get some icons. Let's see. Let's find some icons to use. What are these? How big are they? 16 by 16. They might be too small. We can scale them up, but sure, whatever. We're using them as samples. Let's see. Panels. Let's create a new folder. Assets. And let's get those in there. Bring them back out. I don't want them under that folder. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and let's set up some buttons. How do we want to do this? So one of the things that I wanted to do is set up a mute button. So let's just do microphone. That one seems good. Keybind. Let's see, value. What are these, PNGs? And I think the Python pillow library will let me scale these images up, so if they're too small, we can scale them up, but it doesn't really matter at the moment. Let's see. Execute. Actually, we just need a keybind, because I think do shift plus, I don't know, F1. So I think, what is my OBS? I don't think I have an OBS binding for that yet. So I could set it to whatever, but we'll just leave it at that for now, for testing. And then it's supposed to execute user bin Firefox. What kind of icon do we have for that? Do magnifying glass. And I don't think I want that, because we're going to programmatically make the paths. Is that microphone with a capital M? Yes. So let's just do this for now. We'll just stick with those two. So load our panel config, action keybind. So that sticks that in there. So we need to go and set up the display. Okay. So let's make a new function for that. So this is going to initialize the panel itself. And what do I want to put in there? So to initialize the panel, we probably want to loop through our config, our JSON. And we want to set up the images where they need to go based off of what button they go under. So that means we've got to make the, where's our image library? So I did want to come in here and I wanted to change this a little bit, or add icon. The logic for this kind of sucks. I think what I want to do is I want to, because what I was doing is I was taking the size of the icons and I was distributing them into 2 rows on the display, 6 on the top row, 6 on the bottom row, and then I was spacing them with offsets as like a padding distance between the 2 icons. And I think what I want to do is I want to take the full width of the screen and calculate the center points for each button. And then once we've got the center points for each button, then we can calculate the offset for the image itself. So say our center point is, I don't know, 10, 10, and our image is a certain size, then we subtract that from our center point to offset it and center our image basically around that center point based off of the size of our image. And that way, if we have an icon that's like, I don't know, 16 by 16 and we don't actually want to resize it, it'll be centered and not actually like top left of the button. And I think that would make it easier for our logic when we go to place these icons anyway. So diving back into our virtual canvas, so what we want to do is at the very beginning, we set up our virtual canvas. We just initialize it. We're not doing anything with it yet. And what that does is it goes and it creates the virtual canvas, which makes a new image. at the resolution with background of all white, sets that to our self.canvas value, and then add icon. So let's go ahead and make the code that iterates through our config, and then we'll call our add icon. So it's over here. All right, and then we want to key mappings. Let's see, if self.keyMappings, then we want to for key in key mappings. And what we want to do is, so we're going to iterate over these. We're going to get a 0. That's going to be a dictionary that has these in it. All right. Actually, what I want to do is I want to enumerate this. Key mappings dot items. So key value, get the items. That way we know the name or the button. Let's see. Let's see if it's actually seeing that properly. I think it is. Okay. Oh no, because we're not calling init panel. Hold on. So this will do all of our panel setup stuff. Oh, of course. Yes. Alright, and then we also want to, I don't think we want to print the key code list. And we also don't want to print that. Clean up our console a little bit. Alright, so key 0, and then that's what it is. Okay, cool. So what we need to do is if val.get, or no wait, we want to icon path, right? What do you name it? Icon. Because I feel like if I do if icon path, that's gonna evaluate true because it's an empty string. I don't think you see it's gonna print out an empty string. Maybe it won't. Let's try that. I feel like it's gonna print it out anyway. Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Just confirming. Okay, so that's our icon path. Then what we want to do is self canvas, add icon, path, and then the key number, self canvas dot add icon. And then we want to give it the icon number, which is going to be key, and then, or no, sorry, the path, icon path, and then the key, which I think, key number, okay. And we'll see, I think that's, I think Python's got those as numbers and not strings, we'll see. I may have to convert them into integers. No such file or directory, okay, cool. Okay. So, let's make the path. Let's see, dot assets. And then we want to stick our icon path right there. Then panels, assets. Oh, it's under panels, assets. Panels, assets, icon path. Pairs is not, yeah, so I need to convert that to a integer. All right. That should do it. Okay, cool. So then I push buttons, running keybind, key 0 pressed. That one works. Cool. Subprocess is not defined. Okay. Yeah. Import sub process. So this should actually fire off Firefox if I push the third key. Like so. Yeah, okay. So that opens up Firefox. Okay, cool. It's not writing those to the image or to the device. I think I need to set the... So that adds the icon to the virtual canvas. Let's check our file. Panel image. Yeah, so we can see it's actually sticking those where they're supposed to be. So that's good. Another thing I wanted to do is change it so that I'm not actually writing this out and then loading it from the file, because we should be able to, based off the Python pillow. Let's see, Python pillow. So the Python image library has the it's under image module. I think there's a bytes method. Let's see, 2 bytes, I think. Image, 2 bytes. Okay, so that's what we want. Because we don't want to... Because before what I was doing is I was saving it, and then writing that image to the device. But I think what I want to do is, instead of saving it to disk and then writing it to the device, I think we can just pull it straight from the memory, write it to the device with the 2 bytes method. So okay. So in our code, that was being done here, where it's pasting it, and then it saves it onto the canvas. Save canvas, canvas save. Doesn't actually need to do that, so honestly, I probably need like a clear canvas function. Alright, we'll just leave that named as save. So we're pasting it on there, and if we want to get it to actually draw it, where's that being done at? Before I was doing it with ggset panel image, and then this ggset panel image, I had it pull it from the image path. So if not image path, it's bytes. All right, so if image path, then let's see, image data is that, and then let's else elif bytes from bytes. Let's do that. Or not having collisions with built-in names. Elif from bytes. Then we do image data equals image dot from bytes. And then we do from bytes. I think that should work. Then when we come into our update, so this is the one that's importing our display pad. Because I want to be able to have some feedback from the panel itself to be able to say, yeah, we have something new to draw, because I don't want to just constantly draw new stuff to the display. It seems kind of wasteful and problematic. So what I want is for a way, I want a way for the worker to be like, okay, yeah, we've got a new panel. Kind of like fires off a signal that says, hey, we've got a new panel to render, and then the display pad worker goes and grabs that from the virtual canvas. So maybe part of the update function is that if it returns, we could do it where if the update function returns true, then our display pad worker knows that it needs to grab the virtual canvas and spit that out onto the hardware itself. That might work. I don't know. I'm just making all this shit up as I go. So, yeah, if you guys have any questions, by the way, just throw them out in chat. I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability, but I'm quite the idiot, so I end up learning by making mistakes. So let's go ahead and, if our keypad, let's do our update function. So, what we want to do is keep track of when the thing needs updates, right? Because if we go and we add an icon to it or something like that, excuse me, if we add icons, we change things on it, and we want to re-render it or redraw it, we need to keep track of the state and know that it needs to be redrawn. So let's make a value called stale, and we'll leave it as false. And so let's say, for instance, we run our init panel. We're going to add icons. So add icon should canvas.add icon. Okay, this will set our state to stale. So then what we do is self.state equals stale. Oh, stale. Stale equals true. Stale equals true. And then what we can do is, I don't know. Maybe we can just check that under display pad worker. We can do if panels.get active panel dot stale. Then we device dot GG set panel image, and then bytes, or from bytes. Image data equals get, I don't know. Let's see, get image, or get canvas. Let's do get canvas. And then over here in our keypad, we should have a get canvas function. Put it right here. Def get canvas self. And this is going to return the self.canvas dot 2 bytes, right? That's what we want. 2 bytes. Okay, and then it returns bytes object. And then over here, got our from bytes, get canvas, image data. So that should and then we need to set the stale back to false. I don't know if this is the best way to do it, but whatever. Okay, so if we go and rerun this, it'll probably error out. Yeah, virtual canvas object has no attribute 2 bytes. Yeah, but why not? Why not though? Alright, so the canvas object is, that's an image lib vert canvas. Oh, I need it over here. Do I need that? I think I need that over here, not in here. Get canvas. Or no? Self canvas. Def get turn self.canvas dot 2 bytes. This is the one that's got the 2 bytes on it. So then we can come over here. So our panel update. Oops. So update will return our self canvas. Canvas get. All right, that might work. That'll return the canvas 2 bytes. That returns that. Update. So then what we can do is we'll do other logic. Other update logic goes here. And then at the very end, let's see, if self.stale self.stale equals false, then we'll return that. So that's if it's stale. And then it becomes stale when we add icons, do other stuff. So then over here, we don't give a shit if it's stale or not. We don't have to worry about setting it back to stale. All we have to do is call our update. And then we do if image data. So if we get our image data, then we do that. We'll send it to the device. If not, then we don't care. And we only get the image data if it's stale. So then we set the stale to false, and then we return the canvas. I think that'll work. I don't know. YOLO. Missing two required position arguments, size, and data. Oh, from bytes. Okay. Under GG set panel image, size, and data from bytes. Okay, so that is under here. GG set panel image. That one I did not read properly. From bytes. So we need to give it a size, 800 by 240. It's a tuple. And then our data equals from bytes. I think that'll do it. Oh, missing mode. What is mode? The image mode, Z modes. Oh, RGB. Okay. So then we can do RGB. It's interesting how that's what we need to do. We need to move this because I was going to say it's interesting how we're doing that again. So that's an in-place operation. That'll do image data. Okay, cool. Image data from bytes. Unrecognized image mode. Sorry, you want all capital letters. So where it starts to get fun. Argument S must be a bytes object. So are we not getting a bytes object from that function? Let's see. Let's print out our image data. Oh, it should already be printing the image data. Python image mode. Yeah, so that prints the right and then the bottom. From bytes and then 2 bytes, right? 2 bytes. I think we need to do raw. Default to use the standard raw encoder to see how this packs pixel, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it defaults to raw, so... Huh. Not sure how we get that thing to, spit out raw bytes because it seems to be spitting out a Python image object. Oh, duh, because then I have to like... Oh, see, I don't need to do that. I just need to have it be from bytes, right? Let's try this. Duplicate that, then just have it from bytes. Because I think we can just pass the raw data that was passing the image itself. Wow, that spit out a bunch of shit. Bytes object has no attribute size. Yeah, that's an interesting problem. So it spits out the actual bytes, but I think because it's not a byte array, I think I need to convert it to a byte array. Because this spits it out as a byte array. What is that? 2 bytes XBM RGB. Do I need to canvas 2 bytes? Do I need to change the encoder to, what is that, XBM? Encoder. Because that's what this one looks like it's doing. I can't remember, it's been such a long time since I wrote this line where it's opening the image, converting it 2 bytes. So I think if we do that, and we spit it out with the XBM and then the mode, let's see mode. Yeah, and then RGB. And let's just copy these. We will have them the same as this. And I think that'll give us the right thing. No, bytes object has no attribute size. That's interesting. So display pad worker sends from bytes with image data. Image data is get update canvas.get. Return self canvas.2 bytes. Self canvas is an image new. Yeah, it should be working. I do not know what the deal is. Do, 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 do. Yep. So that gets from that, gets from that. And then we send our image data to set panel image, which comes over here. If image path from bytes. Okay. Let's just do this first. Let's just do from bytes. We'll do that, and then we'll do image dot, wait, image data dot 2 bytes XBM and RGB. We'll just repeat the same thing, but we'll write the image and then pull it from that. I think that might work. Not enough image data in from bytes. So I think I need to go back over here. I need to take that out. And that'll do it. Or not. Yeah, still no attribute size. Okay. Yeah, I think we're running into some type errors. Some data type errors. I think we've also been going for 2.5 hours now, so I think it's a good stopping point. I'll probably scratch my brain over this a little bit, think about it, and probably hop back on and start messing with it some more later. But yeah, thanks for joining me. I hope you learned a couple things, and I hope you had some fun. If you did enjoy this, feel free to follow. I'll be doing this on a hopefully regular basis, a couple times a week. So you can catch me live doing reverse engineering and coding and this kind of stuff. May not always be with this device, maybe with some other stuff. But you can also catch me on YouTube and Twitch. Yeah, so that's about it. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you guys later.